Hey everyone, Tony D and Little Joan about to go for walkies, but we wanted to do one last hot take. Bush's DHS chief urges support for Joe Biden. Trump's actions are deplorable. Well, that's an interesting statement coming from Tom Ridge. Huh, Tom Ridge, the first head of the DHS. Do you remember the color coded warning signs? Hmm? More importantly, do you remember what one of Tom Ridge's first acts as the head of the Department of Homeland Security? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Aloha Al Qaeda, High Life on High Alert, December 2004. This is from ABC News. We spotted them in one of the world's most luxurious vacation spots, a paradise they flew in on your dime. We were surprised they got defensive. They were obviously mixing business with pleasure. But is that what you expect from the people who have the very serious job of protecting you and your family from terrorists? Chief Investigative Correspondent Brian Ross, wasn't he disgraced in something? Takes you into a world where high-level counterterrorism meets the high life. Oh yeah. Do we have any visuals? No, it's just a transcript. Um, the Hilton Hawaii Village Beach Resort and Spa on Waikiki Beach in Honolulu. Kelly Chun, Senior Supervisor, Mandara Spa. Here at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, we are the largest hotel and spa in Waikiki. Brian Ross. This was the setting last month for a meeting that top Homeland Security officials, including outgoing Homeland Security Secretary Tom Ridge, I guess it was at the end then, not the beginning. It was the beginning of the next guy's tenure, was essential government business. Kelly Chun, 5 exquisite pools, surfing, hula lessons. Brian Ross, it's a long, expensive plane ride from Washington, but officials said the meeting would help make the country safer. Kelly Chun, we have the largest spa located in Waikiki, offering everything from massages, scrubs, wraps, facials, hair and nails. Everything is here at your fingertips. Brian Ross, what was apparently the perfect setting for the second annual Asian Pacific Homeland Security Summit and Exposition, with most of the costs paid for by corporations seeking government contracts. American taxpayers paid for the government officials' travel expenses. This is the guy who endorses Biden. Chuck Lewis, Center for Public Integrity. I don't know how much money the whole thing costs, but you notice they never hold these things in Cleveland. Wah, wah. Brian Ross. Chuck Lewis of the Center for Public Integrity says Homeland Security has turned into a vast, wasteful pork barrel. Yeah, no kidding. Chuck Lewis. These folks are lining up at the trough. I mean, that's really what's going on here. Everyone's having a good time at taxpayer expense about something involving national security, life and death. That's got to be offensive in any book by any person. Brian Ross. But Secretary Ridge and everyone else seem to be very much in the aloha spirit, thanking the governor of Hawaii for organizing the event. Tom Ridge, Secretary of Homeland Security. She thought it was a good idea for this conference to be held in Hawaii. And I wanted to say to you, Governor, everybody here, thanks. It was a fabulous idea. Yeah, I guess it was, Tom Ridge, going to Hawaii for free. Brian Ross. There was no sign that the threat of Osama bin Laden did anything to dampen the evening. Government worker. We love Hawaii. Greetings from the great state of Mississippi. Brian Ross. The Department of Agriculture sent its Homeland Security Director, a Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI was there, and the State Department had 2 top officials in attendance. William Pope, Acting Coordinator for Counterterrorism. I'm the Acting Coordinator for Counterterrorism. Brian Ross. William Pope said there should be more conferences like this one. William Pope. This is what we really need to be doing, because this is diplomacy. These are the kinds of people who endorse Biden. They worked for a Republican, George W. Bush. Oh, but they love Biden. I wonder why. Brian Ross. But at the very same time, back in chilly Washington, officials at the Department of Homeland Security were also reporting severe budget problems to Congress, a continued freeze in hiring new custom agents, and a halt to non-essential spending. While some officials brought plane tickets to Hawaii, Homeland Security pilots worried about getting fuel parts and ammunition, while officials lined up at the buffet line. Agents complained there wasn't enough money to buy gas for their government cars. And while one of the finest hula troops in all of Hawaii took to the stage, Homeland Security was setting free criminal aliens because they could not afford to detain them. Not everyone agrees with Secretary Ridge that the Hawaii Conference was essential spending. These are the kind of people who endorse Joe Biden, because these kinds of people want to get back into Washington. Now, does Trump have these kinds of people? I don't know. Trump's too busy firing them. You could go to ABC News and look up Aloha Al-Qaeda. It's probably a video of this somewhere. Probably couldn't play it anyway. And you could watch them pee away our tax money on a luxurious Hawaiian vacation that they had no business going to Hawaii to. None. Zero. There was not a damn reason these people needed to go to Hawaii. And they went on our dime. And they loved it. And they laughed all the way home. Because F you, taxpayers. These are the kinds of people that I'll say Trump has disrupted. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't grease the wheels on occasion and have some of these guys working for him. But he does fire an awful lot of them, and he hasn't hired some of them. And I doubt he would tolerate this waste in his company, so I don't see how he would tolerate the waste in our government. I don't think he would. I really don't think Trump would go, ooh, hey, you're gonna have a trip to Hawaii for DHS. Well, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, have a good time. That's my Trump. It's getting better. It's really Crowder's Trump that I'm working on. But yeah, I just don't see Trump signing off on this. He's the kind of guy who asks the tactless questions like, why do you have to go all the way to Hawaii? Why can't you just have it in the other room? Why don't you just order McDonald's and get it done now? He likes to get things done. Trump. You got to give him that. You can't get things done if you got to plan a 2-week trip all the way to Hawaii and bring all your crap and then bring it all back. Come on. Come on, man. These are the kinds of people who endorse Donald Trump in politics. The neocons. Tom Ridge. Get the message yet?